All right, we're gonna be changing out a lower ball joint on this 98 Ford Crown Vic here. This particular one is a Valucraft VFA 2101. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna take the wheel off. In this instance, it's gonna be a 21 for the lug nuts. Now, if you don't have access to air, you can use your tire iron or, ratchet or wrench or whatever you got, really. Get your lug nuts off, pull your wheel off. Set that to the side. Some people put it underneath the car, but I got a jack stand and a jack holder now, so no worries there. All right, next thing's next. We're gonna want to pull our caliper off. Let's see what we're working with. Let's see. 18, something like that. All right, so we're looking at like 18 millimeter for your caliper bolts. You're gonna want to break those loose. Yours may be stuck on more than mine are. I just had this off for putting the caliper on a couple weeks ago. Let's see. I need to get an extension. Once you get your proper setup, and make sure you support your caliper. As soon as you take this bolt out, it does have the potential to free fall. Take this off. In this instance, stuck to the rotor. You are going to want to get something to support the weight of your caliper. You don't want to put that all on your brake line. It is just rubber after all. Now we're going to pry our caliper off here. Take our caliper hook and find something to hook it to. Let's see. Just gonna hook it to the upper arm for now. I'm gonna pull our rotor off next. Set that to the side. Alright, now we're gonna meat potatoes up. So, let's see what we gotta work with. Get some light here. lights are dead. All right. So, this particular style here, on the top here, ARPA ball joint has a square to it, which means it's up against a stop. So all we're gonna have to do is take off this nut on this here side, knock that bolt back through, and it should, and I do say should, because it probably ain't gonna happen, it should come loose relatively easily. If not, we'll beat the shit out of it. On the bottom here, we got a big nut, cotter pin in there. We're gonna take that out, and then as soon as I figure out what size that is, I'll let you know. On the upper, we are working with an 18 again. Lower is gonna be something much larger. So we're gonna want to take that cotter pin out of that bottom stud for the ball joint. Given the fact this vehicle has a considerable amount of rust, you know, this cotter pin basically doesn't want to come out. So another way you can go about it is cut the ends off of it. Since we are replacing it anyways, we can just rip it all out at once. Now, if you were going to take this out and just remove it, I wouldn't recommend that, but being that we are replacing it, it sort of doesn't matter. This bottom nut's a 24. It's going to be a real bitch. All right, start with the top one. Take out this 18. Let's see, get a deep one for that. Use our 1/2 inch with an 18. Should give us the right amount. There we go. There we go. So, got our nut off for our wall joint. I'm gonna take my jack here and I'm gonna put it underneath this lower control arm in the rare instance that something does fucking happen and it just explodes at me. I don't want that. So I'm gonna put it underneath this lower control arm right where the shock is. This is a safety precaution. All right, so then take our dead blow here, see if we can knock this out. You can use a hard face hammer. You just don't want to hit it too hard. You don't want to mushroom the tip of it. Okay. Wiggle this bolt out. Okay, so stuck in there pretty good. We're gonna use a punch. All right, here's our bolt. Use a magnet here to push it out of this fucking abyss. Or not. Naturally, it's only doing this just because I'm recording. All right, now that you got your bolt out, this is what it looks like. Square, locks up against the stop on the knuckle. Make sure you don't lose that. All right, so that was exceptionally easy. So, typically speaking, this upper ball joint here gets seized to this knuckle, and it's a son of a bitch to get out. But we happen to knock it just one time on that top there. Now you want to be careful where you hit it. You want to hit it in the meaty part of this. If you hit it too much, you do run the risk of potentially cracking the knuckle, so do be careful. Okay. All right, probably should have done this first, but we're gonna take this sway link, upper sway link part out of the knuckle as well. Just because on the angle it's at, it's actually being tweaked by the other side. Because the car is obviously on a tilt, so the sway bar is tweaking it. I'm gonna take that out. Like I said, I should have done that earlier, but you know, Here's what it is. Now we got our extremely, I don't know if you can see that on the video there, but our extremely worn out lower ball joint should not have that much play in it. All right, let's see what we can do here. All right, we're gonna get our 24mm socket here. See if we can't get that to work. Knock that on. See if we can't crack this. Probably loose. Something there. Figure out a way to get an extension on this. I'm gonna fish an extension through the top there and hopefully be able to get this off. That ain't gonna work. Oh man, I guess it's on there. So, I'm gonna go off camera, heat this up for a little bit. See if we can't try it again. All right, this is about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes later. I did get it to break loose with this combination here. Probably about 2-3 foot. Break the bar, work that. We got that out of there. Now, hopefully, separate this. Nothing wants to be easy today. All right, now we're gonna try to use a pick fork, ball joint separator, whatever you want to call it. Problem here is this lower ball joint is so fucking worn out. It's basically giving way with it. I'm gonna try and use a punch if we can't get something from the top going. Ball joint's basically falling through the bottom. All right, y'all. So after much struggle, mostly due to the fact that this ball joint was so incredibly worn out, and you know, it may not have been actually the fact that this ball joint was worn out, but what appears to be is either this ball joint was improperly installed, and or the control arm had already been previously damaged, and when this was installed, they just kind of let it go. Now, it could be that this thing just wore out so much that it wore out the control arm, but I'll show you our current issue. So our hole here in the control arm where our ball joint would sit, it's actually extremely worn out, and our new ball joint just slides right in as if, you know, as if there's no resistance when there should be a lot. Now, it could be that this ball joint was in there, you know, so long, just worn out, just wallering out the hole. But unfortunately now we're gonna have to get a whole new control arm. Just kind of takes this job to another level, but you know, it is what it is. Post the next video when we end up replacing the control arm.